Hello ladies and gentlemen, good afternoon and a good evening to all of you. My name is Aaron Moti Oquindo and it's absolutely a pleasure to extend a heartily welcome to each all of you. To be present here, we will having a discussion regarding El Polibus Tourism and the Philippine Century Hence, we will absolutely give justice to your curiosity. I'm Aaron Moti Oquindo and I'm your news anchor for today, giving you the latest and most credible news around the globe. Our story for today is about the second novel written by Philippine national hero Jose Rizal, El Polibus, also known as English of Region of Greed. And we are going to investigate where this comes from, how it's grown, and then how it gets here. Shortly, we will going to hearing a first news today of El Polibus to our reporter in Calamba, Laguna. For further details, we have our first reporter Palomares with us. Please give us more information about this.
Hello and good afternoon everyone. I am Clarence Miguel Palomares. 13 years after leaving the Philippines, Crisostomo Ibarra returns as Simon, a rich jeweler sporting a beard and blue-tinted glasses, and a confinement of the Captain General. Abandoning his idealism, he becomes a cynical saboteur, seeking revenge against the Spanish-Philippine system responsible for his misfortunes by plotting a revolution. Simon insinuates himself into Manila high society and influences every decision of the Captain General to mismanage the country's affairs so that a revolution will break out. He cynically sides with the upper classes, encouraging them to commit abuses against the masses, to encourage the latter to revolt against the oppressive Spanish colonial regime. This time, he does not attempt to fight the authorities through legal means, but through violent revolution using the masses. Simon has reasons for instigating a revolution. First is to rescue Maria Clara from the convent, and second, to get rid of ills and evils of Philippine society. His true identity is discovered by a now grown-up Basilio while visiting the grave of his mother, Sisa. As Simon was digging near the gravesite for his buried treasures, Simon spares Basilio's life and asks him to join in his planned revolution against the government, egging him on by bringing up the tragic misfortunes of the latter's family. Basilio declines the offer, as he still hopes that the country's condition will improve. Basilio at this point is a graduating student of medicine at the Ateneo Municipal de Manila. After the death of his mother, Sisa, and the disappearance of his younger brother, Crispin, Basilio heeded the advice of the dying boatman, Elias, and traveled to Manila to study. Basilio was adopted by Captain Tiago after Maria Clara entered the convent. With Captain Tiago's help, Basilio was able to go to Colegio de San Juan de Letra, where at first he is frowned upon by his peers and teachers only because of the color of his skin, but also because of his shabby appearance. Captain Tiago's confessor, Father Irene, is making Captain Tiago's health worse by giving him opium, even as Basilio tries hard to prevent Captain Tiago from smoking it. He and other students want to establish a Spanish language academy so that they can learn to speak and write Spanish despite the opposition from the Dominican friars of the Universidad de Santo Tomas.
News. Thank you, Palomares, for wonderful news. Let's hear from our correspondent Pelicano about this news.
Good afternoon everyone, I'm Mike Pelicano reporting this news with the help of Reclutant Father Irene as their mediator and Don to Studio Decision. The academy is established, however they will only serve as caretakers of the soul, not as the teachers. Rejected and defeated, they hold a monk celebration at Pasinchara, while a spy for the fathers witnesses the proceeding. Simon, for his part, kept in close contact with the bandit group of Cabeza Tales, a former Cabeza de Barangay who suffered misfortune at the hands of the friars. Once a farmer owning a prosperous sugarcane plantation in the Cabeza de Barangay, He was forced to give everything to the greedy Spanish friars. His son, Tano, who became a civil guard, was captured by bandits. His daughter, Julie, had to work as a maid to get enough ransom money for his freedom. And his father, Tandang Celo, suffered a stroke and became mute before joining bandits. Tales took Simon's revolver while Simon was staying at his house for the night. As a payment, Tales left a locket that once belonged to Maria Clara. To further strengthen the revolution, Simon has Kugira, a Chinese man hoping to be appointed consul to the Philippines, smuggle weapons into the country using Kugira Bazaar as a front. Simon wishes to attack during a stage play with all of his enemies in attendance. He, however, abruptly aborts the attack when he learns from Basilio that Maria Clara had died earlier that day in the convent. A few days after the monk celebration by the student, the people are agitated when a disturbing poster are found displayed around the city. The authorities accuse the student present at the Prasinchara of agitation and disturbing peace and have them arrested. Basilio, although not present at the monk celebrations, is also arrested. Capitan Tiago dies after learning of that incident, and as stated in his will, forged by Irene, all his possessions are given to the church, leaving nothing for Basilio. Basilio is left in prison as the other students are released. A high official tries to intervene for the release of Basilio, but the Captain General, bearing grudge against the high official, conjuring him to tender resignation. Julie, Basilio, girlfriend and the daughter of Cabesan Tales, tries to ask Father Camora help upon the advice of an elder woman instead of helping Julie. However, the friar tries to rape her as he has long this hidden desire for Julie. Julie, rather than submit to the will of their friar, jumps over the balcony to her death. Basilio is soon released with the help of Simon. Basilio, now a changed man, after hearing about Julie's suicide, finally joins Simon Revolution. This is your correspondent Mike Pelicano reporting this news. Thank you.
Good afternoon everyone. I am Joshua Polito reporting this news. Simon then tells Basilio his plan. At the wedding of Paulita Gomez and Juanito, Basilio's hunchback's classmate, his plan was to conceal an explosive inside a pomegranate-style crusade. Love that Simon will give to the newlyweds as a gift during the wedding reception. The reception will take place at the former home of the late Captain Tiago, which was now filled with explosive planted by Simon. According to Simon, the lamp will stay lighted for only 20 minutes before it flickers. If someone attempts to turn the wick, it will explosive and kill everyone. Important members of civil society and the church. Inside the house, Basilio has a change of heart and attempts to warn Isagani, his friend and the former boyfriend of Paulita. Simon leaves the reception early as planned and leaves a note behind. Menetes el Pars, Juan Crisostomo Ibarra. Initially thinking that it was simply a bad joke, Father Salvi recognized the handwriting and confirmed that it was indeed Ibarra's. As people begin to panic, the lamp flickers. Father Irene tries to turn the wick up when Isagani, due to his undying love for Paulita, bursts in the room and throws the lamp into the river. Sabotaging Simon's plan, he escapes by diving into the river as guards chase after him. He later regrets his impulsive action because he had contradicted his own belief that he loved his nation more than Paulita and that the explosion and revolution could have fulfilled his ideals for Filipino society. Simon, now unmasked as the perpetrator of the attempted arson and fed the revolution, becomes a fugitive. Wounded and exhausted after he was shot by the pursuing guardian civil, he seeks shelter at the home of Father Florentino, Isagani's uncle, and comes under the care of Dr. Tiburcio de Spandana, Victorina's husband, who was also hiding at the house. Simon takes poison in order for him not to be captured alive. Before he dies, he reveals his real identity, Florentino, while they exchange thoughts about the failure of his revolution and why God forsook him. Florentino opines that God did not forsake him and that his plans were not for the greater good but for personal gain. Simon, finally accepting Florentino's explanation, squeezes his hand and dies. Florentino then takes Simon's remaining jewels and throws them into the Pacific Ocean with the corals, hoping that they will not be used by the greedy, and that when the time came, that it would be used for the greater good. When the nation would be finally deserving liberty for themselves, the sea would reveal the treasures.
Good afternoon everyone, I am Ardeniel Lianto reporting this news. Simon, a powerful man who has great influence over the Kapitan, an aspiring Doctor General. Using this, he plans to destroy the Spaniards as his vendetta sufferings of the point of Crisostomo Ibarra. Basilio, the eldest of Caesar's two sons. Now over the Kapitan, an aspiring doctor whose medical education was being financed by Capitan Tiago. He is now at graduation during the events in the novel. Isagani, poet and Basilio's best friend, portrayed as emotional and reactive. Paulito Gomez's boyfriend before during dump for fellow students, Juanito Pelaez. Cabezang Tales, Cabezas Telesforo Juan de Dios, a former cabeza de barangay of Sagpang, a barangay in San Diego's neighboring town, Chani, whose resurfaced as the field Luzon bandit Matanglawin. Don Custodio, Custodio de Salazar y Sanchez de Menterodondo is famous journalist who asked by the students about his decision for Academia de Castellano. Paulita Gomez, the girlfriend of Isagani and the niece of Doña Victorina. In the end, she and Juanito Pelaez are wed and she dumps Isagani. Macaraig, one of Isagani's classmates at the University of Santo Tomas. He is a rich student and serves as the leader of students yearning to build Academia de Castellano. Father Florentino, Isagani's godfather and a secular priest, was engaged to be married, but chose to be a priest after being pressured by his mother. Juli, Juliana de Dios, the girlfriend of Basilio, and the youngest daughter of Cabezang Tales. To claim her father from the bandits, she had to work as a maid under the supervision of Hermana Penchang. Juanito Pelaez, the son of Don Tometeo Pelaez, a Spanish businessman. He is also one of the members of Macaraig gangs who wish to have the Academia de Castellano built. Doña Victorina, Victoria de los Reyes de Espedana, known in Nolime Tangere as Tiburcio de Espedapa's cruel's wife. Father Camora, the parish priest of Chani. He has been desiring young women ever since. He nearly raped Juli, causing the latter to commit suicide. This is Lianto reporting.
Hello and good afternoon everyone. I am Juan Carl Roque. Ben Zaid, the pseudonym of Abraham Ibanez, a journalist who believes he is the only one thinking in the Philippines. Placido Penitente, a student of University of Santo Tomas who was very intelligent and wise, but did not want, if not only by his mother Lea, to pursue his studies. Hermana Penchang, Sagpang's rich pusakal, gambler. She offers Juli to be her maid so the latter can obtain money to free Cabezang Tales. Tiburcio de Espadana, Don Tiburcio is Victorina de Espadana's lame husband. He is currently on hiding with Father Florentino, Father Irene, Captain Tiago's spiritual advisor. Also reluctant, he helped the students to establish the Academia de Castellano after being convinced by giving him a chestnut. Quiroga, a Chinese businessman who dreamed of being a consul for his country in the Philippines. He hid Simeon's weapon inside his house. Don Timoteo Pelaezelo, Juanito's father. He is a rich businessman and arranged a wedding for his son and Paulita. He and business partners. Tandang, father of Cabezang Tales. He raised the second young Basilio after Simeon left their house in Nolimitangero. Father Fernandez, the priest friend of Isagani. He promised Isagani that he and the other priests will give in to the students' demands. Sandoval, the vice leader of Macaraeg's gang, a Spanish classmate of Isagani. Hermana Bali, another grumbler in Tiani. She became house mother figure and counselor, helped to release Cabezang Tales from the hands of bandits. Pasta, one of the great lawyers of mid-Hispanic Manila, opposed the students' demands for Spanish language academy. Father Million, the physics teacher of University of Santo Tomas. He always became vindictive and placido and always taught him during class. Tadeo, Macaraeg's classmate. He, along with the other 3 members of their gang, supposedly posted the posters. Leeds, an American who holds the stage plays, staring decapitated heads. He is a good friend with Simeon. Tano, Cabezang Tales' elder son, after his older sister, Lucia died in childhood. Pepay, Don Custodio's supposed girlfriend. A dancer, she is always agitated of her boyfriend's plans. She seems to be close a friend of Macaraeg. Gobernador General, the highest ranking official in the Philippines. During the Spanish colonial period, Pecson, Basilio's classmate who had no idea on the happenings occurring around him. He suggested that they held the mock celebration at the Pansiteria. Father Hernando de la Siblia, a Dominican friar introduced in Nolimitangere, now the vice rector of the University of Santo Tomas. Father Bernardo Salvi, former priest of San Diego, now the director and chaplain of Santa Clara Convent. Captain Santiago de los Santos, also making a cameo appearance. Captain Tiago is Maria Clara's stepfather and foster father to Basilio. Maria Clara, introduced in Dr. Rosal's first novel, Nolimitangere. She was once the girlfriend of Crisostomo Ibarra, but chose to become a nun despite Father Damaso's, her real father, arguments. She eventually committed suicide, as witnessed by Basilio when he visited the Humidient of Santa Clara. This is Roque reporting the Philippines.
Hello and good afternoon everyone. I am Justin De Soto. The Philippines, a Century, hence is an essay written by the Philippine national hero, Jose Rizal, to forecast the future of the country within 100 years. Rizal felt that it was time to remind Spain that the circumstances that ushered in the French Revolution could have a telling effect for her in the Philippines. This essay presents a radical prophecy of Rizal of how the Philippines would be through the century. Rizal presented a clear idea of how our motherland will end up centuries later, proposing that our country will end up in either of the 3 ways. That the Philippines will remain to be a colony of Spain but will be in good terms with its captors. That the Philippines will try to cut the ties of our motherland from its captors through violent means. And lastly, that we will be colonized by another country. This essay, published in La Solidaridad in Madrid, between September 30, 1889 and February 1, 1890, starts by analyzing the various causes of the miseries suffered by the Filipino people. Spain's implementation of her military policies. Because of such laws, the Philippine population decreased dramatically. Poverty became more rampant than ever, and farmlands were left to wither. The family as a unit of society was neglected, and overall, every aspect of the life of the Filipino was retarded.
Hello and good afternoon everyone. I am Mikael Montiveros, and deterioration and disappearance of Filipino indigenous culture when Spain came with the losing confidence in their past and their heritage. Sword and the cross, it began the gradual destruction of the native Philippine culture. Because of this, the Filipinos became doubtful of their present lifestyle and eventually lost hope in the future and preservation of their race. Passivity and submissiveness to the Spanish colonizers, one of the most powerful forces that influenced a culture of silence among the natives, were the Spanish friars. Because of the use of force, the Filipinos learned to submit themselves to the will of the foreigners. Eventually, the natives realized that such oppression in their society by foreign colonizer must no longer be tolerated. Keeping the people uneducated and ignorant had failed. National consciousness had still awakened, and great Filipino minds still emerged from the rubble. Keeping the people impoverished also came to no avail. On the contrary, living a life of eternal destitution had allowed the Filipinos to act on the desire for a change in their way of life. They began to explore other horizons through which they could move toward progress. Exterminating the people as an alternative to hindering progress did not work either. The Filipino race was able to survive amidst wars, and famine became even more numerous after such catastrophes. To wipe out the nation altogether would require the sacrifice of thousands of Spanish soldiers, and this is something Spain would not allow. Key points in the essay are several issues that concerns our country: abuse of human rights, lack of freedom of speech, lack of representation in the Spanish Cortes.
And that's for all for today. News. This is Oquindo, and it's only a day till Christmas. See you again next time for another news with us. The truth is our priority, and we give justice for your curiosity. Merry Christmas, thank you, and goodbye.